94.3 WYBC, excuse me, 94.3 WYBC, the rhythm of the city and home of the Juan Castillo Morning Show. Good morning, New Haven. This is Moving Target. I am your host, Jake Kemp, and with me, as always, is my brother, Remedy Sharif. What's good, bro?
Peace and blessings. Super Saturday, baby.
Yes, sir. We need to get the sound effects, like the hand claps and the bombs, the clue bombs.
Man.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we need that. I got to talk to Juan about that. But we got King Spence in the building. What's good, bro?
What's going on? Good morning, New Haven.
Yeah, man. So we got a lot to talk about. We also have a special guest in the building. Sheldon, what's going on, brother?
Peace. What's up, New Haven?
Yeah, man. I'm really glad you joined us. You know, I really want to talk about what's been going on in the community in regards to the passing of another community member, which I know we're talking about the shooting of the police officer, but I don't feel like there's been enough focus on, we just lost someone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
So I really want to deal with that. But before we even get into that, I just want to get y'all take on the Jay-Z partnering with the NFL. I want to know, Rem, you being such a NFL supporter, I don't think you'll ever boycott the NFL. Really, I don't think that'll ever happen in life. Ever.
I mean,
I feel like Martin.
I don't know how much of a supporter I am. I don't buy anything, or I do. I watch the game.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. Nielsen, you one of the main Nielsen.
I think sometimes in life, man, we all need outlets, and that's what it is for me, man. Through the madness, through everything, that's one of my outlets. And I don't agree. It's the dynamics of life. It's so that we all, in ways, we all like contribute to a certain amount of whatever it is that you can't live life and not be affected by what the oppressor has done in some way. You know what I'm saying? So I do respect the fact, like some of the players have definitely said, listen, this is the way I'm able to give back to my community. I'm feeding communities of our people through this, even though we know it's a form of oppression, even though we know what they do and all of these things. So yeah, I watch and I look for my Cowboys to go out here and do their thing this season, man.
Yeah. So you're saying that if it came down, if the revolt came down to boycotting football the way Martin boycotted, had everybody boycott the buses, would you be joining Martin in that fight?
That, to me, that changed the perspective, and absolutely I would. It changed the perspective for me because I feel like me sitting alone in my room watching football, and some people decide to boycott, some are not. And just a little side note, it's funny to me that most of the people, or all the people that I know that have boycotted sports teams, stink. Let me just get that out the way.
Man.
I just want to say that, but it's true.
I can honestly say that's not true. I just know a couple people that are New England Patriots fans that
and they're boycotting.
Shout
out to them.
Actually, my brother, and I got to shout out my brother Shock, man, because he's been boycotting the NFL. He's been a diehard Dallas fan since I was a little kid.
Right.
So I'm so proud of my brother.
Shout out to him, yo.
Because he's a hardcore Dallas fan. It still sucks, Shock. It still sucks.
And we're gonna step over that too. But
so Rev's gonna be one of those on the low watching football. You watching football? No.
Nah, man.
It's cricket.
I'm front and center. If we all move as one, move collectively where the impact is gonna be made and be felt, I'm moving, fam. I'm moving.
So do you agree with the Jay-Z move partnering with the NFL?
Through us talking about it this morning, y'all brought a different perspective to it. And it really at first, I'm like, we think about it. I didn't see the interview that y'all was talking about. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So with y'all, that's why I was just quiet. The things y'all was saying totally made me go, wow, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's questionable. I feel like there was finally an opportunity for a black billionaire to say, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't need you, but we are gonna start our own.
Exactly.
and instead it was like, okay, what you want me to do? I'll partner with you. I'll make it happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was disappointing, man. That was real disappointing. But yeah, I want to get into what's been going on in the community. I have not been, and I think that's the downside of not being on social media. You know, I haven't been on social media because I don't like to take all that energy in.
Yeah.
But I don't get informed about things that are happening in our community, and I learned about it maybe 2 days later that an officer was shot. But that's all I was hearing about. Officer was shot. A man is on the run, and it was later that I learned, wait, somebody died.
Right.
So I don't believe the media is bringing the narrative that's really focusing on the fact that we lost someone in the community. So I kind of want to first start with that. Like, Sheldon, you knew this brother,
Correct.
Who passed. Can you tell us a little bit about, you know, what you might know of what happened, how the family's doing, how the community's doing with this loss?
First of all, I just want to say rest in peace to our brother Troy Clark that passed away the other night that the police officer was shot. I'm not sure because I've been in contact with his family, so I'm not sure how they're doing. But and you know, there's different things, so I don't want to speculate as to what happened and what could have happened surrounding the brother's untimely demise. There's a few things out there. It was a robbery and things of that sort. But I just think that it's unfortunate that his brother's passing is kind of being overshadowed by the shooting of Officer Duff, which was also unfortunate as well. But I believe that his brother's passing is kind of being overshadowed by, you know, what happened with the shooting.
Did he have children?
Yes, I'm not sure how many children Brother Troy had, but I know he did have children. I know he had family in the city. He has a sister here, so he does have family in the city. He was a loved brother. And so I just feel that that's something that people should acknowledge, that there's a family mourning right now on the loss of a loved one. So
absolutely, yeah. So my heart, genuine condolences goes out to everyone dealing with that, because that's really tough. So with this situation that's going on, from what I'm hearing, it's been straight up chaos in the area. Like, streets have been locked down. You know, some people couldn't even go outside for a little while. Do you feel like there's more of an outcry because a police officer was shot, as opposed to because we lost a community member? Do you feel like this same type of approach would have been taken even if it was just between two people in our community?
Not at all, man. And we see that it's almost like martial law out there. And we see that, like, you got the SWAT teams, you got the little tanks rolling down through the streets, and it never happens, you know. And I've said myself, I feel like if every time a murder happened, they would take that approach, it wouldn't be murders like this in our neighborhoods. But because an officer was shot, yeah, they going super hard. They're going up in families' homes, going from door to doors.
Are they really? They go up in family?
Door to doors in them neighborhoods, man. Going up in houses. Well, I'm not sure if they're still doing that exactly.
So they were at first?
Man, because they was looking for the person and wanted to make sure he didn't take siege in nobody's home or anything like that.
I actually saw pictures on Facebook of, like, SWAT teams just surrounding the areas. It was crazy, going from door to door, you know, knocking on innocent civilians' homes.
Wow.
Like, it's just crazy to see.
My friend's house too.
So are they like, you know, knocking on the doors, asking questions, or are they like, yo, we suspect that this person might be here, we're coming in, we got a warrant type stuff?
No, I was saying, from what I understand, it was more so looking for them, just letting people know that they were looking for someone and that they needed to search their homes. From what I understand, not so much like busting in people's doors and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, that's because the thing is that we really don't realize just a child that's like 8 years old seeing the SWAT team outside.
It's trauma.
Yeah.
It's trauma. You know what I'm saying? And then knowing in your mind, okay, somebody was shot and killed. There's a dude on the run. Police officer was shot. SWAT team's at my door.
But not only that, also hearing conversations. Because when we're young, you know, we sit around our elders. So you still hearing conversations about our people being murdered by the police. And now here these dudes in your home, and we understand again what they were doing.
Right.
But here they are in your home. And in the force of that magnitude, like we've been around police presence a lot in our neighborhoods and our cities. But when it's in that form, that's a whole nother form, man. That's a whole nother form.
We're talking about the recent shooting here in New Haven of police officer Duff and the passing murder of Troy Carter is his name, right?
Clark.
Is it Clark?
Clark.
Yes. Troy
Mm-hmm.
Clark, excuse me. And we're talking about, the effects it has on the community. If you want to call in with your thoughts, 203-562-9430. Please call in. Let us know how you're feeling. Let us know any insight you might have on the situation. I think a lot of us are in the dark on exactly what's going on.
And we have the pleasure today of sitting with one of our brothers, man, one of our soldiers, Brother Sheldon, and he's been on the front line of a magnitude of situations that affect our communities, man. You know what I mean? This is a good brother, so we're not talking frivolously. We got brother here that knows, and Ian is blessed to be the son of our Queen Mother that's daily on the front line and doing her thing, and shout out to her, man. We love her. I got a quick statement I would like to read.
Yeah, please. Is this from Mother Fair?
This is from Mother Fair, Queen Mother Barbara Fair. Dealing with this situation, she says, "My heart goes out to Captain Duff and his family at this really difficult time. I'm hoping for a speedy and full recovery. Duff is viewed as a great man and an amicable officer within our community, so the chief needs to understand he is one of our own. The chief of police needs to understand he is one of our own. He is not only a cop, but one of the beloved members of the New Haven community. I am upset by the constant stroking of the anti-cop rhetoric by those who would like to silence those who demand police accountability. I am also offended by the minimal attention given to the young man who lost his life and yet barely mentioned in original media reporting of the shooting.
That's right.
I am also offended by those who want to insinuate Duff was shot because he didn't shoot. People often speak to the risk the police take in their duties as an officer, yet few speak to the risk black and brown people take on the streets, in their homes, riding bikes and driving cars. We are aware any stop by police can end our lives. We all need to do better. I ask the chief to stop framing this tragedy as yet another them versus us. Make no mistake, Captain Duff is one of us. Community policing is about all of us working together to improve public safety for all of us. And that's Queen Mother Barbara Fair.
That's so true. The us versus them, because even when I saw the press conferences or the statements made, it was all about police losing one of theirs, and really separating it.
Right.
It's important to note that Duff is one of us.
Right.
It's not yours.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's it. We lost a community member, or we lost a community member, and another community member was shot.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's it. I'm curious to know though, like, what do you feel the result is going to be from this in regards to like how we move as a community, how we might look at cops, or even how the cops might treat us? Yeah, go ahead, Spence.
Even just in the past few months, I've been seeing like more of a police presence on the streets, just like cops surrounding the area, and normally where they shouldn't be or they wouldn't be. So I think we might just see an increase of just police activity in general, and maybe harsher laws, and just maybe, I don't know.
The over-policing is going to be a problem.
It's gonna go away though.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sean. Yes, sir.
I feel like it's more going forward. What's going to happen has more to do with how the community handles this situation. When everything first happened, there was a lot of infighting going on. The community was split. You had one part of the community saying, this is crazy. The police are in our community. They're all over the place. This doesn't happen when quote unquote Ray Ray gets shot. The police don't show this much concern. Then you have people on the other side saying, what is wrong with you people? The police are doing the job. They're out there, and you black folks are never happy. You complain when the police shoot you. You complain when the police do their job. You folks aren't happy. So we had a lot of infighting, if you will, going on between members of the community surrounding the response to what happened. I think that both people should have a chance to see how they feel. I think both sides have a voice. There are people that have some legitimate concerns about the response to the police coming out and the way they did and surrounding the neighborhood and going door to door. And they have some legitimate concerns because there's people that have been living in this community seeing sometimes a lack of response to the violence in our community. So they have something to say about that. And then you had the people that seem to be supporting the police, but they were kind of trying to silence the other side. And I don't think that that's right, because I think that everybody has a valid point in this conversation.
Yeah.
It's trauma. It's so much trauma in all of this. It's so much trauma. And understanding what Sean's talking about, you see the trauma in it.
Right.
So I'm traumatized by the lack of their presence and all of those things. Now I'm over traumatized by the overwhelming of their presence. And remembering like only a few can remember certain situations where you seeing like the tanks rolling down the street. Yeah. This ain't just a normal police presence. This is like army type, like armed
was it
service
tanks? There wasn't tanks. Was it?
Well, they had a couple armed. They had an armored tank out there.
Yeah,
now, what do you need an armored tank for, man? Come on.
The SWAT. I mean,
I feel like that's a tactic. I feel like that's a bully tactic.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
It's a show of force. It's like a group of people coming out, showing off their guns and things like
that. But that's problematic. You know what I'm saying? When you want to come through with tanks, totally unnecessary. You know what I'm saying? You want to come through like it's Beirut. You know what I'm saying? It's unnecessary. You know what I mean?
And wouldn't be, and especially because we know if it was just that that brother being killed, Brother Tony Clark, if it was just him that was killed, no cop shot, they wouldn't be out there like that.
But would we? That's a good question. You know what I'm saying? Because this is where now I start to look away from the cops and be like, yeah, but they're doing, like you said, legitimate concerns. They doing what they do for theirs. Right. Yeah. Even though we might say Duff is our, but
quote unquote for theirs.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But what do we do in response to when our people get shot by each other?
Right.
What do we do?
Not enough and nothing. And go ahead, bro.
No, you're right. Not enough.
It hurts, man. And that's what really, really hurts. Because again, it goes back to the mental health. It goes back to the trauma. We're so damaged, man, mentally, that we don't do nothing. We become shirts. We become pens, we become hashtags, we become that for the moment, and then everybody assumes back to original life because it's like we've been traumatized by that so much, we're used to it happening. It's like, okay, this is our hood, this is what it is.
It's the mental conditioning of the people, and that's why we, sometimes when things happen, sometimes we're reactionary, sometimes we're proactionary, sometimes we don't do anything at all. We're a mentally conditioned people, and we've been conditioned by the trauma and the things that we face every single day, and not only in this country, but in our communities. And unfortunately, a lot of us have been conditioned to silence. We've been, we become numb to the violence that goes on in our community. So, I mean, on one note, I hear what our people are saying as far as, if someone got killed in the community, the police wouldn't be, the response wouldn't be the same. But at the same time, like you said, what would be our response? If this brother Troy had got murdered and no police shooting was ever happened, if we just heard the news that his brother had got murdered, what would we have done as a community? Right. And I think that that's one of the things that we need to really deal with. We need to deal with ourselves, not coming from the place with people that judge and point fingers at our community and say, what are you going to do? But no, I think that, we as a community, in order to heal, we got to come together and we got to do things a little different. And it's like some people saying, that we're going to be outraged with the police presence, we got to be just as outraged with the violence. And many are outraged, because I don't want to put it out there that the community isn't outraged, because there's always a certain part of the community that's there and that's ready when these violent things are happening, that's ready to become a part of the change and the healing. There's always a part of the community that's there.
Yeah.
So I don't want to perpetuate that our community doesn't get involved, because they do, but we do. We need to do more. We just need to do more.
You know,
especially on the proactive end, on the proactive. You know what I mean? Before these things happen, and to be, I can't stress enough. We need to be. Consistency is the changer of all things.
Absolutely.
So when you consistent, it changes things. No matter what you're doing, if you do it consistently, things are gonna change. So we need to be proactive and start doing things consistently.
203-562-9430. Call us up. Let us know your thoughts on the recent shooting here in New Haven, Connecticut. Just to bring it back to, you know, with Jay-Z and this whole partnership with NFL, one of the things that I was thinking about is that he did say something that we need to really listen to just as a community, which is we did our kneeling. It's important. It's important to put it in our face and to let it be known this is the issue. Now it's time for action. And so I really appreciated that, because it's putting it more in our face that, yo, protesting is just not enough. There needs to be practical action steps made.
Absolutely.
In order to see some change, right? So I think one thing that people get stuck on, who are just regular community members, is they see what's wrong, but it's like, well, what are we gonna do about it? It's been here for years, you know. So even on a grassroots level, the question comes to like, well, what can we do about it? You know, what are the practical action steps? And I guess I'm asking y'all, what do you think the practical action steps would be to actually combat or even to go against the violence that takes place amongst us, not even from police? What are the proper steps that we could be taking that we don't?
I feel like at least once a week, the men and women, the people in our communities, need to get together and begin a true healing process with each other. Because we have what we call, like the people that care about these situations, we're realizing that we are still in a certain mental space. Even the quote-unquote conscious, woke people, as they call it, or even activated people that are moving through our communities, we're still not moving as a collective, unified front. You know what I mean? And even within being able to do our things separately and in different spaces, still not, the communication's not there. So I feel like we really need to begin a healing process.
Yeah, I think what the healing process for sure, but again, that looks different for everybody. You know what I'm saying? How somebody heals, different gods that they pray to, right? Different religions, this, that, and the third. If I was gonna think about like some practical action steps, you know, it would have to also come down to knowing, number one, who our alderman is in our community, and what are the things that need to be placed, whether it's more street lights, you know, like something as small as that, you know, like what are the and not saying that would be a solution by no means, you know what I mean?
Right.
But these type of steps of actually knowing on the grassroots level who is in our community, you know what I'm saying? Who are the people in position, and then leaning on them and holding them accountable.
See, I wouldn't even, and I respect that, but real quick, my only position on that is that I wouldn't even want to know no more who our alderman is unless our alderman came to us. Let's the men and the women in our communities, let's come together and start building as we need to build, at least once a week, like practical step. Let's start meeting in different communities once a week, get as many people as we can to come out and make if you're an older person in our communities, then come where the people are. Come to us.
Either way, we still have to know. A lot of people just don't know who their alderman is, period.
Absolutely.
They don't know who they're voting in. They don't know what the policies they've pushed. You know what I mean?
I just think that things of that sort need to become a priority in our communities. We need to have something like Know Your Alderman, something that where they're teaching the youth who the people are and teaching them their power at a young age, so that they don't have to wait until they're in college and out of college to realize that they do have power.
Yes.
There's power in the youth right now. The youth of this city and the youth of this country alone could turn this country around if they knew their power and knew how to exert it in the right way. W.D. Du Bois said, power concedes nothing without a demand, and that's one of the main things that we need to do. We need to put together what we want and go for that and push for that and keep it and be consistent with it.
So we have a phone call. Let's go to the phones real quick. 94.3.
Morning, family. Seth Poole speaking. How are you?
Good morning, Seth.
morning,
Good morning, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, definitely a tough week.
Yeah.
For the people of New Haven, and my heart definitely goes out to the family of Brother Clark as well. And yeah, there was definitely a focus, and some a level of vitriol and hatred pointed in the direction of the officers, which was shocking because of who Captain Duff is and has been in our community, and for him to be off duty pursuing a suspect of a murder that he witnessed, and not commending him for putting his life on the line even when he was not mandated to. And we have obviously we've become desensitized to violence, or gotten to the point where it's not even post-trauma, it's traumatic stress.
Yeah.
Right.
It's sadly enough become almost commonplace, particularly for some of us, because most of the people in the room are pretty much around the same age group, and we've experienced a lot in our lifetimes, and developed a perspective of law enforcement that was based on some very, very tough times when police, community policing was not as admirable as the work of Captain Duff the other day.
So Seth, I know, and y'all probably remember a few years ago. Man, we're going back probably about 13, 14 years when the rabbi was jumped. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
No,
about
that's
North
my
Street.
neighborhood. That was the beginning of,
And do you remember? I forgot who the brother was, but man, he was riding around, gun out,
Lisa,
gun out on the bike.
They had like a neighborhood defense group.
Yeah,
They were trying to start
they
one.
got the chief fired.
Yeah.
So
Because they demanded more police presence in the neighborhood because of one incident, and it didn't happen. So they leveraged their political power to have our police chief removed.
Absolutely.
So I feel like it's things like that. We can say whatever we want about the Jewish community. They are modeling exactly what we need to be doing, right? So what would that look like for us to do that?
I think it's starting right now. I think we're having a dialogue right now. People are listening. It trickles down into our neighborhoods. Peace, Brother Sheldon. When I see Brother Sheldon, we do this every single time we see each other.
Right.
Absolutely.
The thing about it is, like Remedy said, we have to bring it. We have to make it more commonplace. We have to, have healing spaces. There's a couple of sisters in the community and brothers, for that matter, who are trying to bring, yoga and healing practices to not only our schools but to our communities. And there's actually things going on now where they're meeting in the park early in the morning. I think it's like 7:30, Edgell Park. I can't remember what location, but there's like a yoga circle that's free.
Yeah, go ahead, Brother Sheldon.
No, I was just gonna say going back to the situation we were talking about with the the police and the different responses. One thing I just have to put out, we have to acknowledge the difference in communities, relationships. The Jewish community's relationship with the police is very different from the African American community's relations with the police. To play devil's advocate, I think that we need to, like you said, when the shooting happened, there was a lot of negative stuff, a lot of vitriol that came out against the police and things of that sort. Then you had the condemnations of the people that were speaking against the police, and I understand the perspective of the people that are saying, hey, you know, these are cops, they're doing their job, you know, let them do their job. The officer was shot, this is right. But at the same time, I also understand the perspective of the people that have been traumatized by the police. We do have an epidemic of police brutality in this country. We do have a problem with police brutality in New Haven. We had years ago when I was younger, they had a squad called the BDP, Beat Down Posse, who used to jump out on corners and just chase people down and beat up whoever they would catch. I was chased by the Beat Down Posse. I seen the police. I've been beat up by the police. First time when I was 15 years old, I was beat up by the police. So I've had my issues and my dealings with I had drugs planted on me by the narcotic squad. So I've had my differences with the police too. So I fully understand the anger that's within the community with the response and people that have seen. We have over, if I'm not mistaken, over 20 unsolved homicides in New Haven over the last 5-6 years. I do understand the frustration of the people that are saying, you know, when this happens to us, you guys are not there, but now a police officer shot and you guys are flooding our neighborhood. So I do understand that, and I don't want people to try to silence those folks who do have a legitimate argument and who are suffering through trauma, who do, when the police flood their neighborhoods, they're reminded of traumatic things that have happened to them. So I don't want to discredit those people and discount their voices, because they have a voice as well, but also the people that say that the police have a job to do, they also have a voice. So I think that all voices need to be heard, and we need to find a way to come together and find common ground, because neither side is right or totally wrong, in my opinion.
And you can't just step over that, Brother Seth. I would like to ask you just real quick, what would be one of your what would be a practical step, brother, that you feel like we could implement right now as far as us in our communities to try to deal with the murders and the violence against us?
So the one thing that you know, when they finally opened up that intersection, and you know, because I drive through that intersection every single day to go to work.
Are you talking about the intersection where this took place?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically driving down Henry Street.
Yeah.
At Henry and Dixwell, I mean, it looks this way to me. I'm not sure if it's active or not. There appears to be a camera at the intersection. There are also a gate around the hotspot, and they don't take very good care of their property. There's a house on the corner that was recently redeveloped by neighborhood housing. There's another house that's vacant there on that block. If there's more people, or these houses are occupied and you know, brought back to their former glory, and have people inside them who care about the neighborhood and what goes on in it, and we ensure that, because the businesses, apparently we know that the businesses are run by people who don't care about the neighborhood.
Right.
So, for starters, we can stop. We can make a valiant attempt at stop supporting businesses that are disrespectful to our community.
Absolutely.
Do not help police it. Do not help clean it. I went out there to, you know, clean up before the Freddy, and asked the gentleman inside of the hotspot if, you know, they could maintain the cleanliness that I provided for them personally without any charge or any other thing, and they had no idea that the Freddy was the next day.
That's crazy.
So they needed to be schooled, and I'm like, how long have you been here? The Freddy should be on your calendar. You should be open. You should see that as a day to support, respect, and honor our community. But it's not even something that they deem worthy of putting on their calendar into the mental Rolodex. And in order to, you know, and not to mention the amount of, you know, people walking around, you know, drinking as soon as the liquor store opens in the morning. That block is I'm not going to say problematic. It's a problem.
Boycott.
I just, not to cut you off, Seth,
like,
I just want to throw it out there right quick while you're saying that. There's an act right now. There's a brother that's like staging. It's been like for a good month or two right now. That's staging a one-man boycott of Hotspot because of the disrespect that he's witnessed. The people that work there and own it showing to our brothers and sisters in the community. He's been on Facebook trying to wage a one-man campaign.
What's his name, brother? Let's put this out there.
My goodness.
Let's put this out there.
And that's a great thing, and that's definitely a great thing, man. Because I've even said that. Definitely, even with the liquor stores, man.
Yeah.
We gotta get the poison up out of our communities. You know what I'm saying? We gotta get the poison,
or at least most of it.
Or at least
what I mean? Because there's a liquor store on every corner. Like, we don't need everyone.
They should have cameras. They should have cameras, and this should have been solved.
Yeah.
You know, there's way too much commerce going on in that intersection, and the goal of that business on the corner to have a pyramid of Lucy's on their banner on the sign in front of their building.
Yes.
Overtly disrespectful to our community.
Let's go to this brother's name. That's Boycott. I want to join this brother.
The brother's name is Jerome Houser. His Facebook page is Sincere Cipher Calio, and Calio is CLIOWE. This brother also is trying to run for a position in that ward as well. And I'm not making a political endorsement, but this brother, I just want to say you should check this brother out because he's someone that's spearheading a boycott of Hotspot. And myself, when I found out about it, I stopped going. I used to stop at Hotspot every day after work. I stopped going there myself. So I just want to put that out there to this community. It's something we should think about. We should think about boycotting the Hotspot because it's a blight in that community. It's a blight in that section of our community. They don't care about us, and I think that we should exercise our power. And this is one of the ways that we can show and we can get people to listen to us. When we exercise our power, that's when people are going to listen. And I think that's one of the things we should do. We should all think about boycotting Hotspot.
You know, I just want to. This is perfect because this is the example right here. I'm gonna boycott Hotspot, right? And for everybody who's listening, you know this brother might not have millions of followers. You know what I'm saying? This brother might not be a celebrity. You know what I mean?
Right.
Living his best life on social media.
Right.
He's doing a practical step, an action that we can all take to exercise our power.
Absolutely.
Let's do that.
Right.
If you hear that and say, I'm good. I'm still gonna
part of the problem.
You part of the problem.
Right.
And I think one thing we need to get away from is acting as if everybody in the community, from the community, is for the community.
Absolutely.
Right.
They not.
Right.
There's some people that's just not for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Brother Seth, when you were talking about the yoga and I think all of that is great. I would participate in that. But there is people who, number one, might not participate in it because they're not for it. They're not for the people. But then there's others that might not even feel like that's something they could even rock with. So it's like, how do we grab the ones that we know are going to be prone to be possibly high risk shooters? Like, how do we engage them?
I feel
because I don't feel therapy sessions and all that is going to do that.
So I feel like what I always say about some of our brothers that are in the streets with these activities, that they're misguided. They're soldiers and they're misguided. They're not gangsters. And brothers like that and sisters like that take part in those activities, the truth of the matter is they want and they look. This is what I found from being in the trenches. They want to be part of something. They are yearning to be part of something. So when the brothers and sisters start coming together and show them, hey, we got this that you can be a part of. They want to.
Absolutely.
Because now they're seeing strength, yo. They seeing brothers. They know, especially, and let's not get it confused. If you're not out here in our communities out of sincere love, out of coming from a sincere place in the depths of your soul, if you then leave our community alone.
Absolutely.
It can't be tolerated. But so that's what it is. They want to be part of something. If they see us standing together, if the soldiers that know Brother Shelton that don't know me, when they see me and him standing together, that creates a bridge.
Yeah.
That creates a bridge. Now you link it and you giving these brothers something to stand on.
So Spencer or Justin, one of y'all, can y'all go on to the Facebook page? All right. I want to hashtag boycott Hotspot and tag, what's the brother's name on Facebook?
Sincere Cipher Calio.
Sincere Cipher Calio. Boycott, hashtag boycott Hotspot. Let's make this something. It's real. This is the power of the media, because once they pass net neutrality, we won't have this power no more. You know what I'm saying? And we can get into net neutrality on another subject. But we've got to be able to take control of the narrative as best as possible. You know what I'm saying? And act and speak on those things that need to happen for change.
We need to go ahead, brother.
No, good point.
We need to come with humility. We need to come with humility.
Absolutely.
We need to recognize that none of us are perfect. So if you hear Brother Shelton, my brother Scholar Jay talking, you hear myself talking, recognize, you see Queen Mother Barbara Fair talking, recognize that none of us are trying to sit and pretend like we're perfect. But we are sincerely in our hearts and our minds invested in wanting change, wanting better for our people, for our communities. So understand that. So we need to start recognizing that in each other. We're gonna trip, we're gonna make mistakes, but we here out of true love. And we need to not judge each other, but raise each other up. Walk with each other and be able to look at each other and recognize, okay, that brother made a mistake, but know in our hearts he here for real. He's here for real. So not judging each other and bring it together, man.
Brother Seth, I just want to thank you for calling in, brother.
No, thank you so much. And one last word really quickly, because we're at a crossroads in our community as well, with regard to how the criminal justice system has affected our community. Dozens of brothers are returning home from prison from doing pretty long stints,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing here for them.
Right.
And that's another level. And we see programs like Project Longevity, Brother Stacy Spell doing what they can, to try to link folks with access to pro-social activities, to programs, and diaper bank, anything, job training. And all too often they're not receiving the response from the people who have been traumatized by these systems.
We're gonna definitely we definitely have to unpack that even more, so Brother Seth, but we're gonna have to leave, because the show goes by so quick. But thank you so much for calling in, brother. Appreciate you.
My pleasure. Gentlemen, be safe out here.
Absolutely, brother. Too.
Peace.
So yeah, that was Brother Seth Poole calling in regards to this. We're about out of time now, Brother Sheldon. I want you to have the last word. Thank you for joining us. So anything you want to say to the people before we head out?
Now I just want to say to the people that this is an important time. Like the brother Seb said, we at a crossroads in our community. But I think it's not a new crossroads. It's something that we've been at for a long time, and we just need to come together more as a community and be a little bit more proactive. What happened last week was unfortunate in both cases, with a police officer being shot. Actually, a police officer that is a brother that I personally know to care and to care about the community too. So I think that we need to come together, and both sides need to be heard. There shouldn't be silences of any side. I knew the brother Troy, and I also knew the Officer Duff as a good police officer out here in the community that really cared about the kids. And I personally worked with him on some projects to deal with mentoring and things of that sort. So I spoke to his brother on many occasions, so I know he was a brother that cares. But also, we had a brother that died, so we need to come together as a community.
Yeah. Brother Sheldon, thank you for coming through, man. 94.3 WYBC, #boycott hotspot. All right?
Peace.
Peace.